Our next inductee this evening is Vaughn Stewart.
Vaughn Stewart. Stewart played baseball, basketball, and football at Anniston High School, but football was the sport in which he excelled. He was an outstanding lineman and three-year starter for Anniston's football teams in the late 1930s under coaching legend Edgar D. Chink Watt. Stewart served as alternate captain of the 1937 Anniston team as a junior and was second-team All-County that year. In his senior season, Stewart captained Anniston. He was named first-team All-County as a senior in 1938. Stewart was second-team All-State at center as a junior and a senior. The 1938 Anniston team finished 8-0-1. The only blemish on its record was a 6-all tie with Gadsden. At the athletic banquet following the season, Lott called Stewart his greatest captain at Anniston. Following his graduation from high school, Stewart accepted a football scholarship offer from the University of Alabama and its coach Frank Thomas. In a 1991 interview given to the Anniston Star's James Pendergrass, Stewart talked about his approach to football and the nature of his success as a player. Quote, "I had very little ability except speed of foot and a good analytical mind that could diagnose plays. I could pick up my mind to where I felt very little pain. I was stunning in high school and I knew that my future with Thomas was his faith in me to diagnose the play early. I ran through a gap in the Tennessee game and threw their great back Butler for a 12-yard loss. Coach Thomas was impressed. Another time, Coach Bryant, who was a young guard coach for the Tide at the time, stopped practice to ask me to tell the offensive guards how I knew where the play was going each time." At Alabama, Stewart started at center for the freshman team. While at Alabama, he was chosen as a member of the Southeastern Conference All-Sophomore team. He earned a varsity letter for the Crimson Tide while playing for its 1941 National Championship team. Before Alabama's 1942 Cotton Bowl victory, military service ended Stewart's college career. After receiving his honorable discharge, Stewart had an opportunity to play professional football. Despite his lack of size, he played 2 seasons in the National Football League. Stewart began his NFL career in 1943 with the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Chicago Cardinals. He played 1 game with Brooklyn, then completed the season with Chicago. Combined, he played in all 10 games of the NFL's 10-game season in 1943. In 1944, Stewart played in 9 games of the 10-game season for the Brooklyn Tigers. That year, he boomed a 58-yard kick in his only punting opportunity. Professional football players, particularly linemen, did not earn much when Stewart was playing, and he pursued other lines of work, eventually becoming a sports cartoonist for the Huntsville Times. Stewart was inducted into the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame in 1990. He died December 18, 1992, in Huntsville.
On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Calhoun County Sports Hall of Fame, we are pleased to welcome to the class of 2012, Vaughn Stewart. And accepting tonight on behalf of the Stewart family, we have his nephew, Vaughn Stewart II. Welcome him.
Thank you very much. Thank you, the Board of Directors, for your selection of Uncle Vaughn. And thank you for the other inductees for allowing me to sit up here with you. I feel somewhat like a duck out of the water here. I'm not a coach or a former player, I'm an attorney. And but anyway, it's great to be here, and especially to receive this award for Uncle Vaughn. He meant a lot to our family. He wore several hats, not just as a former athlete, but as a historian, artist, and he certainly left his mark on this community and at the University of Alabama. He loved Anniston. He was a child of the Depression. And back then, it's hard to fathom this today, but Quintard was just a very sleepy street. And they would play touch football at 19th and Quintard. and ever so often they'd have to stop for a car to pass by. But that was the family residence. There were McDonald's is today. He had 4 brothers, and they all played football at Anderson High, and I think 4 out of the 5 played for Coach Lott. And I can remember being younger in high school, or really it was more like middle school, and Sam and I would go up and see Coach Lott because those boys took care of him, the former players, like he was their dad. He had one leg amputated at the time and was at Stringfellow. But they loved their coach. They had the stadium named after him. In later years, Uncle Vaughn was instrumental in forming the Jim Clark Board's reunion. He loved the University of Alabama. When I was a student there, he would come down to visit with me and take me around to the different dormitories where the athletes lived, into the old practice field, and he loved life. He left Anniston in the 60s, made a new home in Huntsville, he and his wife Lucy. He still resides in Huntsville and could not be with us tonight. But he never met a stranger, so even though he was not raised in Huntsville, it was just a matter of time that he was treated as a native up there, and volunteered, taught art in the Huntsville public school system, wrote part-time for one of the newspapers and did cartoons, and then was inducted, as the video showed, in the 1990 class there at the Madison County Hall of Fame. But he always had his yearning for Anniston, and he would come home and he would take us around to the old home places here. And it was a funny story. The boys were all born out in the Cedar Springs area in Weaver, and that was kind of home. And then they moved into Anniston later in life. Their daddy was a dry cleaner. He opened Stewart Cleaners in 1914. But their granddaddy could never satisfy, their dad could never satisfy their mama as far as residence. They'd move out in the country and she'd get scared of the snakes and they'd have to move back in the city. And then they would move back out in the country. And it got to be so humorous that when they got older, we would have to call them before a holiday and find out where they were living. But anyway, because they had so many different residences, it would take quite a while if he was here for a weekend to drive us around to all the different home places. But they touched different communities here in the county. He loved Calhoun County. In Anniston, he was a historian. He wrote books. And when Joe called me about this, I went up to the Alabama room up at the library to do a little research. I don't think Sam Noble has more boxes of archives than Alden Stewart the First does up in there, because he wrote. And all these Anniston memories and things that interested him. But he certainly enjoyed life. He made a good life for his family. He did not have any children of his own. He had a stepdaughter. But he embraced all of us, the nieces and nephews, as his own. And very seldom does a month go by, even though he left Anniston 40-something years ago, and I'm stopped and asked about my uncle, and somebody will have a story to relate to me about him. So Uncle Vaughn, we salute you. We salute Frank Thomas and Gene Clark. Thank you very much.